Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosanne Hoffmann, and I'm the STEM project leader at the American Printing House for the Blind. And I'm with Ken Perry, who's to my right, your left, and he's going to chime in every now and then and help me present the first part, and then we have a second part that's located on a table to my left, your right. So we're presenting some devices that have been devised for students with visual impairments to their life, STEM, particularly STEM topics. And the first device that I'm going to talk to you about is called the SALS, or the Submersible Audible Light Sensor. It was devised by someone who's mentioned in a previous session given by Tiffany Wild, and that person is Dr. Carey Supalo. And he's a chemist who is totally blind, and during his chemistry education, he was really hoping for, or noticing that, he needed a lot of science, and so he, he's pretty good at solving problems, devising devices that can help him, do things a little bit more independently. So he was aware that there are light sensors out there that can detect whether light is, high or low levels, and then those devices have existed for a long time. Not very sophisticated. The thing is, you can't use those in liquids, and in science courses, particularly chemistry, you use a lot of liquids, and he wanted to have a device that detected light in liquid. So he came up with the idea of the Submersible Audible Light Sensor. We call it SALS for short. And its current rendition looks like this. It's a 10 centimeter long glass tube covered in black plastic with a box at the top that converts light to sound. And the very tip of it is transparent, where there's a photocell, is that? Photoresistor. And that is the part that detects the light. So this device has existed in several renditions. This is the latest rendition. I'll just go through a little bit of the history. Carey engaged the services of a gentleman by the name of Mark Swain. He's an electrical engineer, and he helped develop a standalone box that was connected by a wire to the SALS probe. So it would detect the light and convert it to sound, and that sound would be emitted by this box that was connected to the probe. Since this product has been in development for many years, a lot of technology changes have taken place, and now we have almost everyone has a cell phone. So we decided that we would develop, rather than having a unifunctional box that's connected to the probe with a wire. So now we can use Bluetooth and have this probe connected to a cell phone, so that we can hear the telling us about the changes in light. So why would that be important in, say, chemistry or some sort of science? The light detector can detect different levels of light, so see things perhaps different colors. You can't do color identification, but in terms of bench chemistry, you can determine whether a change has taken place, say, in a test tube or a reaction vessel. So like if you're using a pH indicator that is from, in the solution, a pale yellow color, and there's a change in pH that causes a change in blue, this could be detected by this probe by a change in tone. The higher the light level, the higher the tone. The lower the light level, the lower the tone. I have a couple of things to demonstrate this with. Another scientific or chemistry way to use this is if a precipitate has formed. You have two sort of transparent solutions that you mix together. They form a dark precipitate, and then there's a noticeable decrease in frequency of the tone. So I should be able to demonstrate that to you today as well. So before I begin the demo, does anyone have any questions? You should really feel free to just raise your hand and, yes. That's a great question. As far as I know, no. We've not tried different viscosities, but one, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't just have to be a liquid. She's using it for a liquid, but we've people show starscapes with it by running it across a piece of paper. Her favorite demo, and I can't believe she hasn't done it yet, but she will. Stick it in her armpit because it tells us if you put it in a liquid, it's good for a liquid, but it doesn't matter if you put it in a liquid. So as a viscosity, I mean, you could stick it in Jell-O. I haven't done it, but I'm going to.
That's a great question, though. Yes. At the moment, it's iOS.
Yeah, she says it's at the moment it's iOS. I'm the programmer. I also, this is something for y'all blind folks, because I'm 100% blind. I am also the engineer on this. I'm the one that, after Mark Swain made the, is it Swain?
Mark Swain.
Yeah, made the box, Mark Twain. After he made the original box, I took Arduino board, in this probe that you're feeling and that you're seeing, there's a tiny Arduino board, and we created a circuitry around it. So this is 3D printed right now, but we're going to have it molded. But I guess my point is, as a old electronic engineer, I was able to do it now blind, so that was great. You know, Makers is awesome. So to your question about Android and iOS, it's iOS right now. Any of the iPod, iPad, phone. Android, I have a sample app, but it is not. Meaning we're going to have an Android app. I've been so busy working on the hardware and stuff. I do not have the Android one finished. So we're going to sell it, or we're going to release it with the iOS app. You only have to buy the probe. The iOS app is, of course, free. The apps will be free. So.
I also want to mention that it's battery powered, and Ken is able to change the battery himself. So, I mean, that's good, you know, when, you know, sometimes that's impossible by someone without vision. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the long run, we're also thinking about coming up with a wireless endoscope type thing that we can do color and light, but this is the first step. The app right now just uses the input from the probe, but hey, keep view out for where we go from here. First, we got to get this one out, and then we'll go on. You know, you can use something like Seeing AI. People have tried that, but the problem is directing it correctly is not as easy as you might think. You could get, like, if a beaker is big enough, you could get that it's green, but it might be a green sticker on that side. The blind person will never know. So.
Yes. Okay. The maximum depth would be 10 centimeters, right? Is it 10 centimeters?
Well, yeah, yeah,
or maybe it's 10 inches.
I don't know.
It's as long as the probe is itself, you know, and we'll pass one around so that, you know, people can get a better idea and feel it.
If you're sighted and want to walk up and grab it, I pass it around for the blind folks to take a look at, or the low vision.
And as far as we know, we've tested it in boiling water, and it survives that. And we've tested it in very, very cold water, and it survives that. Mainly, you know, the glass is going to be okay, which is underneath this plastic coating. So you don't want to, what we recommend is that you don't put it in any kind of like organics that might dissolve the coating on it. So there's that. And yeah, I mean, that you're limited by the length of the probe. We've not tested anything really deep, but what?
I was going to say, I guess the one difficulty is you don't want to go up to the actual probe top part, because then you get the liquid on the circuitry, or, you know. But again, the way I've built it, you pretty much shake it off, let it dry, and it'll probably work again. So.
Yes, with water-soluble solutions, you know, you would just rinse it and then dry it with a tissue, a Kim wipe, whatever. User-friendly. Yes? yes. We are definitely considering that. Yes, please.
So one reason we didn't is you can actually, you know how you can run multiple apps on an iPad, or you can pull down Veneer right now, and they have all those sensors. This is one sensor they don't have, they won't make because nobody will buy it. People in the vision field will buy it, but you know who else is going to buy it? So they won't make enough of them. So they're not going to do that. So what you could do is run up the Veneer. You could pull down their 75, do whatever temperature, pH level, and stuff with that. Then you could have the blind student tell the opacity of the liquid with this.
Okay. What I wanted to say is this has gone through one round of field testing with the standalone model and the tethered probe, and it went very well. But one thing we did discover is that the students who benefited the most were those without vision or without appreciable vision. The low vision students usually could see what was going on in the experiment, or whether pretty well, without any assistance. But we are going to this app version and the untethered probe that will be coming up this fall. If you're interested, please let me know. Put you on the list. We have a limited numbers of prototypes, but sometimes we can share prototypes, and maybe you can help us out with that. The other thing I wanted to mention, sometimes surprises happen when you talked about putting it in something viscous. We tried milk, and we put the probe in milk, and the frequency actually went up, which really, really surprised us. Like from just air or clear water, the frequency went up. But you have to remember, milk is a colloid, and I think what was happening, it was reflecting all the light and just actually increasing it. So, milk was not a good choice if you wanted to show a decrease in frequency. So, the other thing that this probe does, I'm going with just the tone. No, it's okay. It's just turning on and off like it does at. You can also switch it to reading hertz, and so it will state like every 5 seconds or 10 seconds the hertz. So you can get like a numerical value, and so you can do that. You can store tones, as many as your phone will allow. You can compare tones. So there are a number of things that you can label the tones in the memory and compare to the ambient tone and a particular stored tone. So I think that those are the main features. And the other thing to remember is that this device is really a proxy for what is going on in your experiment. You're not really measuring light. It's just a tool for you to use to let you know that something is happening. So you may get 2,921 hertz, but that's just to let you know that that was the light level then, and that you might want to compare it to 1,150 hertz. So in a particular experimental situation. So, any other questions? All right. So what I'm going to do now is, it's really hard to do this with one hand. Okay, come closer, Ken.
Well, she can.
Oh, that might work.
Might.
Okay.
A little. It might not cut out much.
Let's try the standing one. The problem is I'm going to be standing in front of the projector.
So maybe lavalier might work better. Clip it to her ear.
But everything is in front of it.
Well, the lavalier is like Bluetooth.
Okay. All right.
If you can bring it.
And what do I do with this? Just flip it to me?
Hello?
Yes, it is.
Hello?
I'm sorry for all.
So for deaf-blind students, the microphone is not. So what we've done is it works with. So you can actually hook a. Either hertz
Thank you, thank you. I figured that there might be some interference. All right. So I'm going to do this the best I can without blocking the projector, if I can. So here's my iPhone. It's a 4S, and I've downloaded the app. The app will be free, by the way, when it does come out. And the probe, we're going to try and keep that under $100. So I just launched the app, and there's a switch on the probe, and right now you just turn the switch on, which is towards the probe itself. And I hit connect. And then a probe identification number comes up, and I touch that. So let me just make sure. Can everyone hear that?
She's doing this without
amplification. This is
without voiceover right now.
right. This is yeah. So this is the sound it makes, and then that's my armpit. So I do that just to block out all the light, and so you just get a. I'm sorry if it's really annoying. Well, I can do this too. I can just point it to my black shirt. So there is also a mute button, thankfully. So there is a mute button. So I'll unmute that. And as I said, you can use it in air. And so I have a series of rocks here. And so this is a kind of light-colored rock. And as they get progressively darker, the tone gets lower. So that's not very impressive, but it's, for someone who is totally blind, it might be useful. And so now, I'm going to mute this for the time being. The next demonstration I'm going to show you is how to teach a student a standard curve, which using experimental results. And you might want to do this if you have a protein sample that is of unknown concentration. So then you have your standards that you would measure, have different levels of protein in them, and your unknown is somewhere in the range of those standard protein concentrations. And then ordinarily you would measure the transmittance in a spectrophotometer. And then you construct your standard curve and then find your unknown on that standard curve. So that is a standard chemistry, biology thing that you do. But you can demonstrate this using the cells and just the concept. So I have a range of just water solutions with different amounts of food dye in them. So the idea would be to take a reading with the cells and take the Hertz measurements. I'm just going to do it with tone today, and you should be able to hear the tone decrease as the concentration of food dye increases. And then you could make a standard curve, and then the teacher could make an unknown of a concentration of food dye that's somewhere within this range, and they could identify, what the concentration is. And you can have the concentration as number of drops per milliliter or whatever. It would, so that would be just to teach the concept. So I think I will unmute now. And this is just plain water. Right, and then I'm dipping into, this is just 1 drop. This is 2 drops. And that's 4 drops of dye. So if you got your Hertz measurements, you could then make your plot, your standard curve, and then identify an unknown by taking the next. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right. Are there any questions about that? That's just one way that you can use it. I have to say, Ashley Nabert is also in the audience here. She works for Carrie Sapalo, the brainchild of this device, and she has come up with 10 different activities that students can do with the cells, and both in air and in solution. And we're going to send those out for field testing this fall as well. So they've already been transcribed into Braille. You should be so happy. The last thing that I'm going to demonstrate to you is the formation of a precipitate. So I'm just going to go get those things. So previously, I've made a solution of copper sulfate, which is a pale blue color, and a solution of potassium cyanoferrate, which is like a pale yellow color. So I'm just going to open the potassium solution, which is also toxic, so I don't want to touch it. Okay. And I'm going to take a measure of that. And then when I add the copper sulfate, it will form a brown precipitate. And you'll hear the tone go down dramatically. So this is something, you know, there are different activities in chemistry that you can do that, you know, you have to figure out, you know, what the chemical equations are, but you can see visually what's going on in the test tube. So let's unmute. So it is now in the potassium ferrocyanate, and I'm going to add the copper sulfate. So there's your dramatic, the solution has turned brown, and we have a very dramatic decrease in frequency. The tone went down.
Now, you might not be able to
And I've just lifted it out. I'm going to mute now.
Yeah, they may not be able to hear that, but it is down in the 60 hertz or something, or even 20 hertz. But you can read the numbers on, you know, the voiceover.
So those are just 3 demos of what you can do. And like I said, we will be, there'll be more activities that are appropriate. And teachers, you know, we've had teachers come up and say, oh, can you, you know, do this, that, or the other thing? And I'm sure a creative teacher could come up with other uses for it, other types of demos. One teacher told us that this helped students identify stars in a constellation. So I'm just printed out on a simple piece of paper, which, you know, an immersible light sensor is not needed for that. But are there any other questions about yes? Well, we did test it in the boiling water, and it seemed that's possibly coming.
The current one does not detect heat. It might change the tone a little bit because a resistor will change its value with heat, but it's not designed.
Yeah.
You would use another program.
Any other questions about the cells? All right. Oh, you can have it.
We either need to shut it off or we can put the dirt.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
How about that? So you can stick that in your pocket.
Here you go.
Like that.
All right. Stick this in my pocket.
Yes, put that in your pocket, and you need to clip this here.
All right, the next, that was the first part of our presentation. The second part of the presentation is the graffiti. I also wanted to, well, if the blind guy walks around and gets lost, then I'll put my mic on instead of fondling with it.
All right, your chair is directly in front of you.
So, I don't know how many people we have in the room, but I was only able to bring, wow. I was only able to bring 2 graffitis, so I have some blind folks up here, but if anybody wants to come up and touch it, that's fine. I'm going to show it on the screen once Rosanne is ready to. Yeah, there's no rush. Once Rosanne is ready to be my Vanna White. So I'm going to make sure these are turned on. That one's turned on. Okay, that one's coming on. So make sure this one didn't go to sleep while we talked. Yep, okay. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show is just some static pictures. I just came out of the astronomy session, which was really good. They have come up with some really cool ways to show us astronomical data. But what we hope to do in the future is not to have to show astronomical data specially. We would like to show it in the same way a sighted person would see it. So I'm going to start out with a couple easy pictures, and then I'm going to go on to some more interesting stuff. But is Anna, or is any of the Sci-Access people in here?
Yep.
Good. They sent me the Sci-Access logos, and I'm going to show these on here a little later. They sent me at 1 o'clock last night. I was downloading them on the web page at 1 o'clock, and I get a mail. Here's the logos I told you about. I'm like, what are you doing up? You know, so you guys are crazy. You're working at all hours. I, of course, was asleep when I did that. So, so what I'm going to do for those who are really close is I'm going to open up this first picture. I might have the blind folks that are right up front use it. So this first picture, here's your camera, Vanna.
Okay, just a second.
You're ready.
Closer.
So I don't know which screen it's on.
On the right.
On the right screen. So what I've done is I brought up a picture here for those who are looking at it.
Can't see it very well.
You can't see it?
Well,
You
you
need
can see
to
that.
do it at an angle, and if you can go around maybe one side of it. So this first picture, for anybody who hasn't looked at it, can you tell what this is? Dr. What was your name again? Is it doctor or is it? No, you're just working on it. Okay, candidate, yeah. Okay, can you tell what this is? What I can tell you is it has 3 colors. If you're blind, we have. Let me go over the graffiti a little bit. It has 5 different heights of pins. It is refreshable, just like a braille display. So the 5 different heights can be used to show topographical information. Uh-oh, somebody pushed a key over here.
Yes, who it was again, sorry.
Oh, my Lord. Ashley.
This camera's
I have-
not showing it.
Why isn't it showing it?
I don't know because I messed it up.
Oh, no, you're good.
You're good now. So what is it showing on this?
It doesn't show the contrast of like colors.
You have to show it at Okay, well, then maybe if people, well, it's better to see if you're up near it anyway, so if you want to scoot in, we'll show it on the camera. Yeah, we're going to be showing this working with a microscope and stuff, so, you know, this is going to be what we're showing here for the next bit. Boy, just to stop the yes, this is actually the You're right. And as you see, it has 3 colors. The blue is the lowest color. The middle range is red, and the heights are the high is the white. And then, of course, on the top and the bottom, you have blanks, which can be a color because, you know, it's lowest. Now, if those who are touching it, like Ashley already did, want to push the down arrow key, if you push the down arrow key, it'll go to my next picture. So this is kind of like tactile slides, you know. And this next picture, did you get it to go down? In the left-hand corner is the.
It's like a little circle.
Oh, sorry, yeah, down there you go. It's just like a Perkins keyboard, and in the middle are 3 buttons that are 5 buttons that are arrow keys. So just a little more about the graffiti. It has a Perkins keyboard. It has 5 arrow keys. It works a lot like the Orbit Reader. If you haven't seen the Orbit Reader, I'm going to show that to you a little bit. So. You just went down to the next picture. The next picture is 2 logos that I pulled off of our websites. The APH logo is in the bottom right. And uh-oh. Did we move?
Yeah.
Maybe push the up arrow?
Let me see where you're
Yeah,
at.
he's back.
Okay. So anyways, the top left-hand corner is the Orbit Research logo. Now, as a blind person, you can't really look at the Orbit Research logo because it's the planet, but the RBIT is hard to read. So if you wanted to be able to read it, if you enlarged it, those who are touching it, if you want to go hit the 5 key twice, the .5, like on the Perkins keyboard, it would enlarge it, and then arrow up twice, and it'll bring the T down to where you can actually touch the T and the I. So you can scroll this, you can enlarge, you can rotate images. Okay, so let me, no, that's okay. I'll come around this way and push buttons, and then you can look at it. So,
Yeah, okay.
oh, what has happened? We must be on the wrong one.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Put this over Ashley since she's done
Okay, so I had to get out and go back in because I don't know where we were. American. All right, we're back to the flag.
Yeah.
We'll go to the next.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is enlarge this for you and then move it up. So if you can feel up here right now with your hand. Oops, did I go too far down? Nope, I didn't. Right here with my finger is a T. And if you arrow back, see, I can arrow to the left, and you can see the rest of the logo. So what I'm basically showing is that you can use any graphic on this device. You can enlarge it, rotate it. You can, and when I say you can use any, this has an SD card. It has a USB port. It has an HDMI slot, so you can plug it into your iPhone, which we're going to show this microscope here plugged into it. And I'm also going to show Tetris today, and working with NVDA. So, so this was just the second basic picture that I want to show. If we arrow down one more, I'm going to arrow down for you, and I'm going to, Ashley, if you push select and 1, it'll shrink it all back to regular.
Select was which one again?
The middle key and the 1. And then I'm going to move down to the next picture. And the next picture, for those who can see, doesn't look like much, does it? Sighted folks? Looks like a bunch of dots, and even blind people, right? Yeah. So this is a picture I downloaded from a website. So I have to manipulate it. So what I got to do is I have to invert it, which is .85.
Can you state the instructions again?
And it's not working.
Where are you at? Well, are you still on the?
She's in the logos.
So hit
Except it says
select and .1 together.
That's what I did, and then it.
Oh,
just,
it's already slow. It's already small. So go down.
Oh, it wasn't like that earlier. Earlier, it just.
So you're down onto the next image right now. So if you do invert, which is .85, right? That changes it to something very different. I'm going to change the filter, and then I'm going to enlarge it with .4 twice. And so you inverted it, right?
Yeah.
Change the filter twice, or let me see, make sure you're on the right filter. Yeah, okay, enlarge it by 4 twice. Now, for those of you who are sighted, what you're looking at, and for those of you who are blind, what you're touching is the very first picture in the world of the black hole. So we downloaded from MIT. MIT was showing it at their conference. Uh-oh, yeah, okay. They were showing it at their conference. And so this is a tactile rendition of the black hole. So on an astronomy picture, you could actually see it blind now with this technology. So do you have any questions as we're going? Yes.
Question. How sensitive are the braille refreshable dots as they different heights? Because I work with a student who has limited control, fine motor control.
They are not that sensitive, meaning I sit, and like I said, I play Tetris on this, which we'll show. So that means you have to be able to touch it while it's moving. So as they change the dots, you can have your hands up there and doing things. So it's unlike I know the Orbit Reader 20, when you're reading it, if you move the line, you have to get your hands out of the way or the dots won't come up sometimes. So that's not like this. This is a totally different mechanism. So, so that, I don't want to go too deeply into pictures right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out, go all the way to the graffiti, do .7 until it says graffiti. And then, well, I don't know what it's showing now. Why did it do?
It's the flag again.
Yeah, why did you do that? I'm hitting a wrong key. So the blind guy is hitting the wrong key. So I go all the way out, and I'm going to select graffiti because that's the card's name. What? Okay. So once I'm in the file manager, I'm going to type O. Go ahead and type O, Ashley. And the first says Ohio, okay? I'm going to go to Ohio 2, so arrow down. And now it has a 2 at the end. Do you see what I'm talking about, Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay, so select on that. Now, I'm fine with that. If you guys want to come up and
want to do that, that's fine.
yeah. So I'm going to change. This camera is probably not doing the best.
Well, it just doesn't show contrast very well.
See, you should be able to lean it.
I did.
But
I did.
okay.
Trust me, I tried.
So what I just did was I selected. Oh, we're still inverted, so we need to make sure we're uninverted. I just selected the first file in that file list, Ashley.
Okay, the SciAccess one.
Yes, right. So I am showing the SciAccess logo they sent me last night, and I didn't do anything to it to make it accessible.
Uninverted again? I forgot.
.5, .8 together. So if you want to see the SciAccess logos, this is the first one they sent me, and I think it has the word SciAccess. Does it?
Oh, that looks really cool.
Or is this their printer? I can't. You're right. So let me now down. What they did was they separated this one. So if I down arrow to the next one, there you go. That's the rest of the SciAccess logo. And
Go down one now.
yeah, to the next picture. So if you want to feel it, go ahead and feel it. So this is just to show at 1:30 at night, they sent me a logo. I put the image on here, and you can see it. So now you may not be able to see a logo perfectly, and I wish people would make logos more clean.
Accessible.
Yeah, so this is the SciAccess one, but let me show you what I did before at 1 o'clock, before they sent me this, because I thought they forgot about me. Go back to one, Ashley, out into go back all the way to Ohio 2, so 2.7s, and then arrow up to Ohio, okay? You got that, Ashley?
Hold on.
Well, I'm going to go fast so she's slow.
Thanks.
So, she's the one that breaks my stuff, so I get to pick on her. So, okay, so before they even sent me, I had already downloaded some logos. Anybody know what this is? That's exactly what I'm trying. So I pulled this off their website for their logo. I'm only going to show it for 30 seconds, so it's not really a copyright infringement. So no.
It just keeps cycling through the two SciAccess logos.
Okay, back all the way out to Ohio 2. So .7, and it'll show you the first one, and then .7 will show you Ohio 2,
Yeah,
and then
Ohio
up,
Oh, and then select that one.
and select that one, and then select the first one, and that's my copyrighted Ohio State thing. And then when they arrest me, I'm going to make a big stink and make Ohio State pay me millions so I can sell these things. So, okay, so that's the first one. If you arrow down, it's another one I pulled down. Let's see how it looks. Go ahead and arrow down to the next one for those who have control. Do you want to, or I'll push it. Or go ahead.
Go down now?
Down arrow. And when you hear it change. Okay, let's see what this is. Anybody know what that is?
It still
Big.
says Ohio State.
It's another one. Oh, is she on the first one? So go down one more.
This is a
And
different
you've just got an
one.
O on there. It's as if it's zoomed
This
in.
one
on.
says
Okay, well,
Ohio State.
you might have skipped it. Go up one.
Go up one.
She probably skipped it. She's double fingered the.
No, it's not.
It's in there somewhere. Okay. Anyways, these are the Ohio. If you down arrow again, you'll see what she's seeing. These are in there. It's just a full folder of Ohio State images. And then if you go to the bottom of this, so down there's another SciAccess logo. Let me down arrow again. The one I pulled off the web page before I thought they remembered me.
Okay, it didn't sound.
Hold on.
Oh, all right.
I'm
Has a
waiting.
delay, doesn't it?
That, I think, is what I pulled off the web. So it's a little harder to read, but the part is I can blow it up.
Mine out of order.
You downloaded it wrong.
Do
I had to
we,
go down.
do we have a place to lock her up? I'm just wondering. Okay, so I'm enlarging this a little, hopefully. Yeah, okay. Ooh, now it went too big. Let me go one more.
Oh, that looks great. Fingers
So,
and the,
okay, went down, so you should be able to see it here, right? Or not?
no, it's the one prior
Okay,
was
let's go back.
better. It's better.
Okay, it's going back.
Yeah.
So
That's really good.
the cool part is you can enlarge this, you can move around and see different parts of it, which is what we're going to do with the microscope here in a minute. So I just wanted to show these pictures as a
We have 5
start.
minutes.
We don't have we got because it goes from 10:35 to 12:15, doesn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't stress.
Someone just, okay.
We have several things to show. What?
Sorry.
I'm going to jump off a cliff.
Make that one bigger.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to remember.
So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get away from the individual pictures, and we're going to show some cool stuff. I think we should start with the microscope, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what we're going to have to do is use one unit. Ashley, you want to shut yours off because we need this because we need less distraction, and not that you're a distractor or anything. And what I just did was I put it in HDMI mode. It's switching.
Where the power was.
That it depends on the unit. That one I think it's down left-hand corner. Let me tell you, these are prototypes. So the one here, the one I'm touching, no, this one's in the left-hand corner. Yours is in the upper right back.
Nope, you said a lot of them left, and I just took out your SD card.
That was the plan. So I don't think is the iPad on yet?
Well, yeah. If you
Okay,
can-
I'm getting out of the way. So not a biologist. I only slept a holiday in. I'm going to let the biologists control the microscope. And will control, I guess I should control the graffiti. So I probably need to spin around and get between people. Oh, cool. Guide. A lovely guide. Okay. So she's going to use the microscope, and then we're going to get to feel stuff.
We need to explain about
Yes.
this microscope.
So first, let me start out with this. I have used a compound microscope at work. That cost me $800 for the camera, the microscope, the slides, and it was crazy expensive, right? But I found out later at another science conference for not accessibility, but for IDFest, that you could build your own microscope if you had an iPad, iPhone, iPod, doesn't matter. And a couple laser pointer lenses, or just one laser pointer lens. You can get up to 175 times the magnification, or on some of the laser pointers, 200 times the magnification, okay? So this microscope that is sitting next to me, I let you guys look at it a little before, but if you haven't seen it, you can look at it after. What it is a block of wood on the bottom, has some bolts that you can move a stand up and down, and it has a glass top that you put well, not a glass, I guess it's fiberglass, that you put the iPad on. Yeah, plexiglass. And the iPad is laying on top, and it points down at the specimen. The iPad's lens is pretty good to start with. You add the laser pointer lens onto it by laying it over it, and then you get the super magnification. And so what she's going to do is use this to as a microscope, because that's what it is.
And it costs like maybe $2.
Oh, I think he said on the website, which we can give you the link. It's a $5. Wow. It's free, because if you go looking at estate sales and different stuff, these are just bolts, wood, and stuff. So the guy builds hundreds of them at Idea, and it costs him probably $50 to $100 because he goes and buys bulk stuff. So very cool little microscope. And we also have a microscope that you can tape to your lens, and it is a little circle about the size of your pinky, into the pinky, and it has a laser pointer, and you just tape it to your iPod. Then you can take it around, and I looked at tablecloth, and it's really cool to see the grid of a tablecloth, different stuff like that, right? A coin, I got to see the hieroglyphics on an Egyptian coin, and that was pretty neat. So she's going to show, I don't know what we're showing first.
Salt.
So we're going to see salt on the graffiti. So has it?
Is it meant to connect to the projector?
No. We're letting people come up and touch, because it really, even on a video, if you can get it right, the scope, you can't really tell unless you're up touching it or at least looking at it closely. Again, for the sighted folks, if you kind of lean down, you'll be able to see different levels once I get this going. So is it actually showing, or
No.
is it hooked up?
It is hooked up, yes.
Well, why aren't we getting something?
Oh, now I just lost my
You didn't do it, is what you're saying? Well, this is not
Do you
good.
need to unplug and plug in?
Maybe.
Maybe I'll leave and then.
No, Ash. No.
I don't totally blame you. Let's see what this cord is doing. Maybe we're on the wrong cord.
The running joke here is I have gone to the last like 5-10 conferences and had this at, and every time
Looks
I touch
good
it,
on the
it
iPad.
breaks.
It's posted.
Yeah, it looks great on the iPad.
I mean, it's so amazing. You wouldn't think
I might,
salt is so
you know what, I might have to
symmetrical.
shut it off and boot it back up. This is the unit we were using, though. No, I'm good. I do this all the time.
It booted up, there's something at the top.
I'm shutting it down. I'm going to shut it down and turn it back on, because we might,
Difficulties
you
as
know,
usual.
we do this 100 times when we're testing it. We did this last
We
night before she went to
tested
bed. It worked 100%, and I don't know. Well, she didn't do it because she had to go to bed after she tried her salves because she was exhausted. We drove up
We drove
yesterday
up
morning.
at like 4 o'clock in the morning, so we were exhausted.
I know. So we're waiting it to boot up right now. It takes about 30 to 40 seconds to boot up, because it has this HDMI in it, and it has to hopefully when we produce it, that won't be the case. We can save it in a memory so that it'll flash boot up. So here we go. It's coming up.
We're connected, so.
Well, I've got it unconnected right now, just in
Oh,
case
I
that
see.
was
Okay,
part of the
okay, got it.
problem. What just happened? Thought it was done. Come on, baby. All right, pass the other graffiti over. This one's being,
Being temperamental.
I guess so.
It's as far as I can get it.
These are not light. They're 6.8 pounds, and future generations will be full computers. But I don't know why we're having issues. That shouldn't. Where's the on button on this one?
That one was the top right.
But I don't know what. Hold on. The blind guy's having fun. Okay, here we go. I should have felt the keys. I'm not too smart. Okay. Where's my cord?
Okay, wait, let me get it.
There he is. I got it. Don't want to pull your stand apart.
Yeah, just don't pull the iPad down. Yeah. There you
I need this end. Okay. We look like a real show team, right? Okay.
go. Laurel and Hardy.
Push this one over. All right. Oh, hush. Okay, there we go. We're at least getting pictures.
That's the logo.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to plug the HDMI in. Heck, we might have to reboot the iPad. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Well,
Come on, baby. No. It should just do it.
there's this.
It's working. It seems to be working now.
Contrast, or I.
Wrong with the iPad.
Something's wrong with the iPad.
Is it working correctly?
That's what I'm wondering. Unplug it from that and then plug it back in. Were we using it? Just, well, did you get it in?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
See, the iPad wasn't noticing it, so, all right, now we're all, should have,
Oh, wow, I don't know why that happened.
okay. I've got it set pretty fast, but that's okay, I can freeze it. So, let me get rid of the words, and I want to zoom in a little
There's lot
bit.
of- Unfortunately, there's salt grains on there, but
Well, hold on, let me zoom in. Actually,
see, unfortunately, there's a lot of junk on the slides too, so I was hoping that just the crystal,
well, hold on. We can zoom in on this. The problem is it's moving too fast, and
oh, okay, yeah.
we should have, okay, hold on, I gotta change time this one, and then we'll be okay. Resolution, rate, and we'll change it to 5 seconds is probably good. All right, now we'll get the, okay. So, hold on. And then we'll shrink it. So I wanted to show you, well, shoot, is that right?
I just moved the slide because I wanted to get more crystals there.
Yeah, maybe salt doesn't work.
What would you like?
Well, actually, it's there.
Yep. Okay, now.
This one,
Moved.
Just
Keep moving.
no, I'm
Yeah,
changing the
you-
contrast because I want to see if I can get a good picture. I don't like that. We'll see if we can enlarge it a bit. There we go.
All right, well, there's a fair amount of dust that is picking up, like salt dust, I guess.
Right.
Now,
It's
yeah,
very
this is what we get for trying something that we didn't try. But
I'll
if
move
you
to a
feel
different
this,
slide.
yeah, we might want to switch to a new slide. If you feel this, it does have the cubes. Well, I think you've taken it down, right?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, let me space. Now you can change slides. I just locked it. If you want to feel this as a blind person, it does show the salt cubes, but it's not great. I think if we had less cubes on the screen, if you want to feel up there, Ashley, I don't know if you do. Can you just go ahead and reach? Just, yeah. So this is,
I don't know how this is gonna work.
we can push it around.
Okay.
Well, there's only so much,
Oh, it's actually,
why don't I move the other one out of the way?
yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Yeah, if you just sit down, Ashley, push it over to you.
So let me shove that around. There you go, Ashley. Can you reach now? Don't push buttons.
Yeah, that's right in front of you.
So those, the problem is there's too many cubes on the screen. She could probably, reduce it. Like I said, we hadn't tried crystals, but they are on the screen. Oh, no, I'm good. We can share it too, if you want to have. I'm good.
I got it.
Okay.
The rest is really.
Hard to put just one salt crystal in there.
Say what? You got one?
I could try to do just one.
So it's supposed to be like salt cubes. And the unfortunate part, I don't think this one came out as well. Do you have another picture?
Yeah, I have this schistosome worm on there now.
Okay, she has the worm up right now. Ashley, go ahead and hit space and let it refresh. So she has a worm up, and so it's going to come up now, hopefully. I don't know what it is. It takes a second. The problem is it's a high-res picture, and it has to convert it to tactile. So
It didn't start making any noise.
let me see it. Again. That's why I do it. What has happened now? This has not done this before. Only when you demo it, right?
Let me pull the HDMI out.
So it's looking, there it goes. Okay. So this is much better, I think.
Wait, I don't have an image yet.
Oh. All right.
Now I'm having issues. What?
Because your iPad is having issues. I don't know.
Yeah, now the iPad doesn't see anything.
Do you want to grab my iPad?
No. This iPad is fine. I just don't have it. Okay.
Focus is you hear it changing over here.
What's interesting is that the ambient light affects this as well.
This is that worm thingy.
Yeah, it's the schistosome
Well, okay.
parasite.
Yeah. I'm totally uneducated on this. So, okay, so I'm moving it to the center. I just moved it to the center. I can blow it up well, I don't know.
It is
Yeah.
quite blown up.
What I'm saying, okay, but for a blind person, so if you want to,
Image help.
oh, shoot.
Tried that.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay, wait, let me freeze frame it for him once. Okay. Now it's frozen.
It's on the left.
Is it?
Yeah.
This, right? Yeah. So this is what, the nematode, or what is this?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Stuff on the right.
No.
it's a
there, too.
schistosome.
just
It's not a
the
nematode.
Change in the light level. So
What
that's
is,
it,
this is,
but
the,
then
the,
that's
on the,
way
on the,
on the right
is
is
the
new one.
This
thicker
is-
part, and this is the
Yeah,
thinner
yeah.
part of the worm.
This is the thinner
So
part?
there's a
Yeah.
loop part that's missing, because it's so zoomed
So you-
in.
Now,
Yeah.
I could do this. I'll unfreeze it, but I could do this.
Can you zoom out?
Hold on. So, and then I'll
Yeah,
freeze it.
That shows the loop, yeah.
Okay,
That's
so-
good. That's really good.
So now you can,
Unfortunately,
and
the shadow is coming
The
out.
shadow, yeah.
let me see what I can
I'll
do.
go get my cell phone.
That's not a good one.
Here, try
Oh, no. I've done stupid things. Hold on. I just hit the wrong button because I'm going to try to.
Shadow might actually, yeah, okay, I wonder if it's the tag of the slide.
Okay, it's coming back up. Okay, there it
You
is.
don't have to do that, I'm sorry.
I changed to a better background.
That's a lot better. It's interesting, because I tried to.
So there you go.
work and
It had the unfortunate part right now, and this is
that
something.
looks good.
Don't change anything.
This is something we're working on. If you feel the background, for blind people, this isn't as good as you think it is. So, I don't know, you looking? Yeah, so you feel the background is actually high. I want that to go down, and we're gonna work on AI filters so that the background will be low where you can still see the contrast of the different levels of the color. So Ashley? Yep. There you go. At least we know we can unplug it and plug it back in.
Is that frozen? Is that image?
Yes, it's
saved?
frozen.
Okay.
Just don't push any buttons and it'll be fine. So that is the loop they're talking about, Ashley. And if you changed back to the black and white filter, it looks good too, but it doesn't look great for sighted people. Do you know how to get to the black and white one, Ashley? If you hit the 3 and 2 key a couple times till it vibrates, two and together. Yeah. Double vibrates, like did it? So go again. Go again. Go again. There.
Oh, wow, oh,
So,
Yeah, that cleans it up.
that's nice.
so see, that gets rid of that background, and then you can see the whole worm there. And it'll crawl into your fingers while you're looking at it, because it's so real. What do you think of that?
I think if you made it crawl under our fingers, it would be creepy.
So pass it back here and let him see it without the background. Yeah. So if she's got it freeze framed right now, but if you unfreeze frame it, it will move whatever moves on the screen. So you could have a live specimen on here. Yeah, and we've seen some pretty cool stuff.
Algae specimens and that sort of thing.
Right. In fact, I want to show some. I'm going to show Tetris, like I said, so you can see it work as a video game. We'll see how good you are at Tetris. So.
Do you want to do a different slide?
Yeah, let's. Pac-Man's already started, so I haven't finished. I have.
Yeah, I'm not
There's a
focused.
lot of background on that.
I don't know.
No,
Wait a minute.
oh, I could. I guess I'm boring, Ashley. Do you hear that? Did you get it in there?
Now it's focused.
And then I need to.
And then
Hold on, I gotta make sure it's on there. I'm gonna leave it right there right now. So there's the bee head. It's the rounded part. Let's see. Sure, I feel it. And then it's got a protuberance. It looks a lot like a fly head, because
yeah, that's
so. And you know, it's not perfect right now. I will tell you, graffiti will have double the resolution.
pass it.
Yes, he was just looking at it. There you go. Don't get stung or licked, because that's the mouth. Yum. For anybody who watched The Fly, the movie, that thing that's sticking out, the head is kind of the round ballish thing,
You're on it right now.
and then the mouth sticks out like a tongue, kind of.
But there's like one on the top and one on the bottom.
The one on the top, they're actually hair-like processes on.
If
like,
I zoom,
stick
if
out of
you
the
zoom
head.
in, you can
That
see
one on the
it better
top
as
is like a
hair. So like hit the 5 key once, and I know it'll blow it up too big to fit on the screen, but you'll be able to see the hair better.
Yeah, see, there's like hairs sticking up out of the top.
So
So
see,
it's actually capturing that.
the
which is
cool
really
part
neat.
is you can see hairs. My boss was able to count fingers on a sonograph of his daughter or granddaughter. So he was able to count 3 fingers. Yeah, with the graffiti.
And then this top part that means is apparently.
And this is something you get better with. So if you don't think you can see this well, I've used this for over a year. So when I look at things, it's like a low vision. I'm almost like low vision now, because I can read the screens and actually see the pictures really well. And I can blow them up and change them all myself. When I download pictures from the web now, I do it all on my own. When I do my PowerPoints, I can sort them without sighted assistance. So, did we have another slide, or should we?
Yeah,
Okay,
we can do
I
maybe
think
one
we'll
more slide.
do one more, and then we'll show some stuff
Well,
on the
take a
computer
snapshot.
and the
That's
calculator.
exactly what I was.
One.
Cross-section of a squash stem.
Wow. So this is dinner. Ashley, go ahead and hit select 1 to.
We're moving it back to you.
Oh, you're moving it. She goes, you control it. Okay,
No, it just ran away from me.
that was the idea. You'll be able to see you moving it though. That's You can see she moves it. I'm not touching anything. She'll get it all selected. Oh, what is that?
Yeah, we tested this.
I know, but I haven't seen this. This is a while ago, wasn't it? You've got to really blow. So when we tested this, we did it with her phone. So I have to blow it up if it's a phone.
Right.
If it's the
This is-
iPad.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
lock it. So,
there's-
okay, this is a cross section of a stem, if you want to feel that.
And so you have the outer, like, epidermis of the stem, that's the
A stem, so it'd be
circumference
like a
of the
circle disc
Yeah.
looking down
And
at
then in
it.
the center there are vascular bundles. They're kind of oval shaped in a way.
Now,
And there are smaller circles inside the vascular bundles that conduct the water and minerals.
Right.
And
now, if you want to see more
Right,
resolution,
yeah.
if you want to see more resolution, let's enlarge it for you. Now, what that did was it'll center the center and enlargen it, and you can zoom around on it. But so now you can see some of the shape better of the different vascular regions.
Yeah.
You know, this
Different
one's
bundles
yeah.
and
This one's not as good, I say, as the earthworm is. The earthworm is so
Right,
much.
I can,
Can you do the earthworm?
sure.
Then we'll do one more. Because the earthworm, actually, I think we're going to. Let's let you at it.
It's just taking me a minute.
That's okay. I've got it frozen, so you can do whatever you like. Okay. But I don't think it's as good as earthworm. Hello. Oh, can't see as much of the regions.
This looks more like a cell.
It is. Well, you're looking down at a stem, so it's not a
There's
cell.
many, many, many
Yeah.
cells.
Yeah, it's many cells, like little because you're.
Yeah, it just looks like a cell diagram. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's like,
Well, the cell's actually a lot more than that. I've seen the. Yeah. So if you think about it like if you've ever you grab the straw broom and crush it together and cut the top off, that's what you're looking down at. But it's a stem. So, but that's kind of how I describe it. The worm. I thought.
No, it's here, it's here. It's a little bit small, so I have this.
But it shows the stump.
Small, but you.
Here you go. Pass back time. And then we'll get on to the stuff that other people are looking for. But the cool part is, you now can.
I don't know, but there's the images there.
Not here.
I mean, on.
Wonder if
Turn it off, the light went red.
I. Probably went to sleep. Touch the button. Not this time. It'll take a second. So these are handmade units, but I can readjust that.
Stem.
5 seconds.
That is the cross section of an earthworm.
Really? Because that is the one I had.
For the other
But
one.
no, it's okay. Oh, no, here we go. Okay. Okay, so if you want to, this is the cross from, this is right here. I call it the stomach, but the biologists tell me that's the wrong name for it. So,
Intestine.
the what?
Probably intestine.
So this here is the muscle region, and then you've got around the edges, but you can't feel them right now unless I enlarge them. There's like little, vascular things, I guess you said?
Well,
Like-
they would be way.
Pretty cool. Okay,
Ashley,
Ashley, time.
your turn.
You can break it. Okay. So I should hook it up to the computer. Whee! Oh, wait, we should do the calculator first. Calculator. Do I have the calculator?
I saw one earlier.
Because I think math should be first, and then toys later. Although I'm sure everybody disagrees with that. I think so. If you want to just break it down and whatever while I'm. That is a cross-sectional worm. So if you cut it in half and look down into it, that's what you see. So that stomach, that hole is where the food goes through. It's not really a stomach, but they have a word for it. I don't know. No, it's not. I think it's like it's a tube that goes all the way through. Okay, I'm switching to the calculator now so we can get a live graph going. Because one of the things that's cool about this is you can get a deaf blind person to use the calculator now. And also you can do statistics. Where's the unit? Is it moved around? I'm coming back around. Yeah, you slide it back across to, sorry, I want to slide it back over here. Okay, so what we got to do is get out of HDMI mode, and go into HID mode. So this actually has HID program. You can write software for it. Like I said, I've got Tetris, I've also got So it just graffiti display connected. Why it's not doing anything? It is. If you listen, let's do 5 times 2, and it equals. And it said 10. Now, if you see it, it's just a block. Braille to you?
Yeah.
No, it's not Braille. Okay,
No.
good. Huh? Oh, well, I'm going to do. I'm going to. Now look what it is. This is the full size. Sorry, we could look at it later.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay, so what's up here is actually what's shown on the screen. This is 5 times 2, right?
Right.
You
Okay,
can read
I'll
that.
tell
So
him.
now if I scroll over, look up in the right-hand corner, because this is 2 times the. Now you can actually read the numbers, 1 and 0, and it looks like an 8 because it has the slash, because the zeros have a slash. Okay, so that's just basic math. Now, I don't want to see that. People want to see graphs, right? So let's shrink this back, and then I'm going to go to a graph. So I'll do Y. Oh, I don't want to do plot 1 selected. Okay, we'll do X, sine X, and I'll do trace. And now it's showing just what it's showing on the screen, but it's about to graph. It had the stat plot on. So this is what is this showing? This is not my. This is a stat plot.
Okay.
So this is not what I was going to graph. So let me reset this. Yeah, reset, because it's got a bunch of stucks. All RAM. Yeah. Okay, let's try now. Y equals. No. Y equals. Okay. Okay. Now it's going to graph my. Okay. Okay, first it played it. Now it should show it. There it is. So now you can feel X sign of X. And if you notice, the axes are lower than the actual graph. Right? So the axes would be, oh, is there no axes showing? Oh, there. Okay. Because of how small it is, you can't see the tick points where they're crossing. But if I enlarge it, so let me enlarge it once. And now you can use the, I think you can see the little tick lines. Do you see? Yeah. And so I can move the cursor. Whoops, I'm moving the actual screen. What am I saying? Duh. Hold on, I'll go up and to the left. And then, okay. So I can move the cursor on the calculator. I don't know why I tried to move it on. You'll hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let me go back. It'll have to catch up. Do you see it blinking? Enlarge it. I'm going to enlarge it, and then I'm going to go back bottom to the screen. If you look down here, you can actually see. You know, so, and then you can go all the way over, and there's y equals, and you'd have to scroll.
So values,
It's
facts,
really,
So right now, the question for sale. They're in production. They're yet. So that's what we're working on, is getting the money. So if you want one for research purposes and stuff, it's 15. I know. Okay, so that's graphing. Would you like to see another graph, or because I can show more? So let's go to the Tetris, because I think people really like Tetris, right? Or because blind kids. I have been. These have been in testing for over a year.
sorry, Ken.
We are continuing to, for instance, we're continuing to add software. For instance, we just added labeling systems, so a blind person can label their own graphics. They can see labeled graphics, which I'm going to show after this Tetris. But we can do field testing. The question is, the problem is we only have 24 of these type of units in the world, so they're all over the place. If you have something you would like to test with it, you can get in touch with us. But really, the easiest way to get a unit for type of for like research and stuff. But contact me if you're interested. Who's this speaking?
Thomas Madura. I'm a professor at San Jose State University.
Right.
I do camps for students with visual impairments, teaching them astronomy. So one of the things I was interested in testing would be hooking it up to a telescope and doing observations in real time.
So sort of like we're doing with the microscope.
Yep, but with a telescope.
Right. So we have actually hooked it to a telescope, and we watched the eclipse the year the eclipse was out, and it was really cool. The whole thing moving. We have a solar eclipse picture on here from NASA's website, but our eclipse pictures were more like there was a you could really see some.
Like Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter's moons going around, that type of thing.
Could you push the space bar and the key to the left? I think that's a great. If I have one come free, but like I said, quick way to get one is if you want to buy one.
Well, I might be able to try and write a grant
That's kind of what we're, you know,
Yeah.
we've had people buy them using grants already, and that's where the more we can sell at this rate, the more I can convince my marketing people to spend $6-7 million. You know what I'm saying? So,
I wonder if we could,
did you push those 2 keys?
I pushed,
The space in the left bar or the left
do you
button?
need to push them at the same time or in
Yes, same time. Same time. That's good. It was already on. Good. Okay. So what we're going to show. Okay. Python-i jetris.py. Oh, am I in the wrong? Sorry, I was in the wrong port. Okay, here we go. Man, I can't type today. Python.
Yeah, there's tons of astronomy stuff. So one a really cool one that you could probably do is you could point it at the sun and measure the sunspots as they move across, and then you could have students compute the rotation rate of the sun.
Yeah.
Measuring the speed of the sunspots.
Oh no. Let me see what's going on here. Can I see the graffiti? Just right here, because it's not. That's okay. I might have to. There we go. I used the wrong button. Yes, and it also can do, yeah, and you can convert it, but it's big Braille.
Yes. Is it never?
So, if you know how to play Tetris, it's running.
Oh, what do you use to move things?
What I use?
Left and right, move the block.
The arrow keys. So left and right, and to spin it, you do up and down. I've got it slowed down to 2 seconds. I've played it at less than that, like 0.75, but that's really fast. So for new people, I've slowed it down. If you want to drop it all the way down, you hit the space bar. So you can go left, right, spin it, hit the space bar, it'll drop it all the way down. So that's Tetris. The whole point of this is to show that you can do moving graphics with it. I'm going to show a NVA plugin here next. So we,
In the center.
see, yeah, up and down arrow spin the block, left and right moves the block, and space will drop it all the way down. The block up in the left-hand corner is going to be your next block, but while the one's falling, you can look in the upper left-hand corner. So this was just, you know, and people have asked, and so I've started a word drop game. I've done Conway's Game of Life. If you don't know what that is, it's a simulator of life with 4 rules. And, huh?
I've heard of it, yeah.
If you haven't done it, just go online and watch it. It's amazing. I wrote it though because when I took my college classes 27 years ago, I couldn't see Conway's Life, so I had to test for certain forms, right? And speak it if they had it, right? But I couldn't see it. Now I've got it, and I can actually see the birds, the guns, the spaceships, the different things that show up on the screen. So.
And I'm Carol Christian.
Okay.
I am Tom's collaborator. I'm with the Hubble Space
Oh.
Telescope, and he's at Science.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I heard you talking.
Yeah.
I'm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
who's? So you're with NASA, or is it another
We
agency?
have
That left, if you push that
a
button, push that right
nonprofit,
button,
which
it
is an
moves your little
association
block
of
down.
30 universities, probably up to 40
Yeah, but when you
universities
push
now.
which
It's
one?
been
Right.
in existence for about
Yes, and so if
45
you
years.
push that right, you can
And
see how it shifts.
we do the Science Center for Hubble, and we
so you
do
can kind of
Kitt Peak
move
National
your
Observatory. There's a solar observatory in New Mexico and a Chilean.
Definitely write
observatory.
me.
So we run all of
Definitely write me, and we'll see what we can do. You know, I can't promise one because when I get them back and stuff, I get them back. But you know,
Sure. If one frees up, so we are doing one of our summer camps in August.
see, I just did a summer camp at KSB, so that
Doing it at, our summer camp this year is going to be in Kalamazoo.
right.
Oh, boy.
You're bacterial services for blind
And
kids.
it's just,
Okay.
it's just a week and
That'd be cool to show
It's
this.
just a couple days if we could borrow.
Let me see what I can do. Just drop me an email.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have to find a telescope now.
So would you guys like to see the NVDA plugin and the coolest part of this, or are you guys done playing Tetris for the
How
sec?
do you rotate? Like,
Rotate is up and down.
oh, okay. So if you push that up,
Up goes left, down goes, or up goes right, down goes left.
top one above that.
I knew if I got a game
So
out
one of
there.
the things, I can, so my university is right in the middle of Silicon Valley.
Right.
So one of the things I can do is I can try and look around for any place has funding that they might need.
This is what I'm trying to get with stage 2, and I'm also working. We can't get it. You know, Bill Gates Foundation. Unfortunately, you have to be invited. So we haven't been able to get to them, but we're really looking for a good sum of money because to underwrite this to get to the point where it's a good cost for blind kids,
Yeah.
it's a decent amount of money. If you think about them at $15,000 a pop,
Yeah, that's
you know.
prohibitive.
But if you do production level, we can get it down to 5,000. But if we can get a $5-10 million grant, we can get this to the point where it does Braille. See, right now it does big Braille. But we can get we already have a design to get the pitch down to do real Braille and graphics in that same form factor. You could have 15 lines of Braille and graphics, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but we need funding. You know. So would you guys good? Did it go on to the next one or?
It like the game's over.
Oh, you died. Okay.
So where are you located? You're at APH. but
Yes.
I don't know.
American Printing House is in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch to the NVDA format that I have NVDA. So I'm going to run NVDA, and we'll see what happens if it doesn't blow up. There it goes. It's starting up. Talk to me. Okay, what you're seeing on the screen right now is the taskbar. If I blew it up, you could see the exit word and stuff. But that's not the exciting part. If I go to my presentations folder, no, that's the wrong one.
Oh, this doc.
If I stop, you'll be able to see words, but let me.
He's just clicking on a bunch of windows.
So I don't know what's showing right now.
Just a straight line.
Okay, so that's the taskbar. So what I'm going to go into is a Word document. And the reason is, when I was working on that calculator in 2013, they kept sending me documents, and it had graphics in it, and I couldn't look at them. So if you notice on the top left-hand corner of your screen right now, that's the Orbit Reader logo, Orbit Research logo. It feels like a little orbit, right? I don't know, is that what it's showing?
It kind of does.
Yeah, but here's the thing, if you blow it up, it does look like
Oh,
it.
let's see it.
Yeah, so you can actually enlarge it if you hit the .5 key, if you know which is the .5 key, that's the one on the right side, the middle key. And you can enlarge the actual Orbit logo until it looks like the Orbit logo. So I can actually pan through this document, and it takes a second.
Oh, so right now it's on the left. How do we move it to the center or more to the
Go left, if you use the left arrow key.
Oh, maybe hit this. Yeah. And then hit it again. See, it's moving.
So now you can see the graphic in the middle of the screen. You've went all the way over.
Oh, good. It's right in the center.
Now it is, right in the
So that's the Orbit logo on this document. It's at the top of the manual, right? But
logo qui est sur l'écran.
so if I wanted to look at formatting of documents with this, I can see it. This is actually the document format. If you blow it up enough, you can read the words.
Oh, could you do the words in Braille? Like the big
Not
Braille?
right now, but in the future, yes.
you can
In
do
fact, you can use a screen reader with this already, and it could send it as Braille. But right now, I'm doing this as graphics. This is made for
So
graphics.
you could do like your tables or graphs that you have in Word,
Right.
or like pictures to know if it's in the center of
Right.
the page.
In fact, here's what I'm going to do. If you're done looking at that one, watch this. I'm going to change it to navigation mode. I'm going to jump down to a graphic. I'm going to jump to a next one. This is a graphic. I think this is does that show a graph from the calculator? So when they sent me these documents, they said, hey, check out the sine wave. And I'm like, I can't look at this stuff. It's not graphs. Now I've went back and I can read these documents and actually see the graph. You can blow it up to where it looks just like it does on the screen of the calculator. Is that cool?
That's cool.
So you can see where it's laid out in the document and everything. And I wrote this plugin for NVDA, but all the screen readers can do this
JAWS.
when we're done. You know, I'm not going to write one for JAWS because they charge too much. If they want to write one and support our stuff in the future when we have a graphics display, more power to it. So, but NVDA, it already works.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you increase the resolution?
You can blow it up yourself if you hit. The problem is the resolution right now is 4 millimeters on that. But if you blow it up by 5, if you go ahead and hit the 5 key,
The middle one?
the middle one on the right side, it'll get bigger and it'll give you more definition.
You can feel the two.
And you can move around, but with the arrow keys, so you can scroll around. If you want to move it to the center or something, you can move up and down. And the bigger you make it, like I said, you can read the words on the screen. You can actually,
It's above. That's like text that you're reading, I think, at the bottom.
yeah. So that's an NVDA plugin. Yeah,
That was cool.
yeah, that's one of my favorites. So, now one last thing I didn't mention is you can draw on this. You can draw on this. So if you wanted to draw a picture, you can do it 2 ways. I made my own schematics using our application because it does squares and circles. In the future, it'll be on the device, but right now you have to use the application on the screen to make the circles and stuff and move them around. But if you want to just draw it with your finger, that. So if you want to see that, just go ahead and, unless you want me to move that around some more, it's up to you guys. I know we're running out of time.
It's like 12/7.
Yeah, so go ahead and unplug that wire on the left, and then hit once it's unplugged, you got it unplugged?
Yep.
Then hit the space and the 1 key together. So that's the one nearest to the arrow keys on the left. Space and the 1 together. Okay, now hit the .7.
Is that on the left or the right one on the space key?
Oh, you know, let me spin around. I'll come help. Oh, shoot, I dropped the mic. I'm so used to taking off wires.
Ken, we're just moving it to you.
Yeah, but I'm not wired up here. Okay, so I'm going to do this real quick here. Sorry, not that there's 100 million people here or anything. Okay, you did that, so let me clear it. And I'll hit 4 to make that level. So if I wanted to like write my name, now there's my first name in cursive. So it's a K on the left.
Diane,
Yep.
coming at you.
So what I did was I wrote my name and then I locked it so people could look at it. We can pair these units together so you could draw on one and feel the other, but you'd have to have 2 units. So what I wrote is Ken, and you can write or you can draw in any height. So if you press the 6 key right now, it'll unlock it and you could scribble on my drawing, or if you wanted to clear it, it's a little different. So now if you use 1 finger, you can draw, and then if you hit the .6, you can see again. If you want to clear the whole thing, you have to hit the .7 and followed by the .8 and it'll clear. So the .7 is the left of the space bar and the .8 is to the right.
Finger, and it will find it. So if you take one finger and draw.
Juste un doigt. Juste un doigt.
Oh, like you can feel my hand? See how I just have one finger?
I have to find what.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ahead. Okay, so let's clear it. So she got, can you hit the .7 and .8? No, first the .7 on the left side, .8, and then it'll clear it. Did it clear it?
All right, good.
So now you just, if you want to find out where you want to draw, you can lock it by pressing .6, putting your hand on .6 so you can lock it and unlock it. Then you use your other hand to draw with. Does that make sense?
Okay, I press 6
That locked it.
and I write.
Yeah, press 6 and then, so
Avec un doigt.
Let go of 6.
it should be locked when
Tu
it,
peux laisser le bouton. You could let go now, right?
Ah oui?
And now 1 finger, right?
that lets you find where you want to draw. So you can lock it so it doesn't draw, and then you unlock it and you can draw.
So now you can draw.
Oh, push 6 again, I guess.
Kind of
So
confusing.
with one hand, you put it where you want to start on the page, and then the other hand, you unlock it. 2 hands. So now you can draw.
I gotten good enough now, I don't have to look,
Vas-y,
you know.
tu peux écrire ton nom avec un doigt. Ouais.
It's not doing anything, Ken.
Oh, let me see what's going on, and then I'll pass it back. I don't know. I thought I had it going. Listen.
When you draw, you wanna, if you wanna follow what you're drawing, I think.
So let me show you, if you're sighted, you can watch and then maybe you can explain. So this is what I do, if you don't know what you're doing. So let's say I want to find out where I want to be. I lock it and I say, okay, I'm in the middle. So I say, I'm in the middle.
Put his finger
So
down.
right, and then I pick it up and then I unlock it. Then I can say, okay, and then I can do wherever. Then I lock it back and then I can feel it, right? So I'm going to unlock it and then I'm going to clear it.
Parce que quand tu pognes ça avec tes mains, là, pour pas que tu fasses toutes sortes de barbeaux, tu loques l'écran. Pendant que tu mets ta main sur l'écran, là, tu
I've got it
choisis-
locked right
choisis où
now.
est-ce que tu vas aller.
So
là,
it's
tu
locked
rappelles
right
de
now,
six.
so put one finger wherever
Fait
you
que
want
là,
to
fait que là,
start.
mets ton doigt ce que tu veux n'importe où, sans appuyer. Sans appuyer, il te l'a déjà bloqué.
Ma question, est-ce qu'il est bloqué?
Oui, il est bloqué.
Bon, OK.
Fait que là,
And
mets
then
ton doigt
push
où
the
est-ce que tu veux aller.
6.
Ça va pas bien. Ça va pas. Non, ça va aller. Je vais le débarrasser. Je vais faire ça.
There you go, now you can draw. And then when you're done, hit the 6 again to lock it so you can feel it.
Oh mon Dieu.
Yes, perfect.
Oh boy.
Nope,
OK.
dot six,
Oh,
dot
the-
six.
OK.
Yes, now you
OK.
can feel it.
If you don't lock it, then you're continuing to draw.
OK, yes. Oh boy.
And it has a way to erase. You have to scrub on it, and it has a way to, draw at the different levels. If you press while you're in draw mode, press 1 through 4, it changes the height of the pen, so you can draw at different levels. I actually colored stuff in on a picture. Like I made a lady have a beard. It was pretty cool. So.
Oh, that's nice. That's funny.
So there you go.
OK.
Yeah. Any other questions? I know I've lost everybody. So let me show one other thing here. Pass it this way. I want to show this is really important for tactile graphics. I'm going to go to the CD, the disc. Oh, it's locked. Or no? No new. Oh, okay. Hold on. What is going on? Did I? No, the button's back here.
Oh, the light went red.
Oh, maybe when I passed it around? We'll see. Hold on, I don't know if it's going off or coming on. No, new? Okay, there it goes. Let's turn it on. It says graffiti. Okay, so I'm going to go into the card. I'm going to go backwards because this is really cool. So unicorn, no, a tree. So this is a tree. It's a rather bad tree. But the cool part is, do you see the blinking dots?
Yeah.
Touch one.
It's kind of in the hard to get to, but like I can.
So can somebody touch one?
Yeah,
Yeah. We have two people.
going up and
touching.
down.
So if you touch one, what happened up here?
It's in the center. There's above the tree. There was a little thing that showed up.
Okay, try it again.
Okay.
So it says you touched the leaf or leaves.
Oh.
So if you touch the root area, it'll say root. It says you just touched the tree trunk.
Oh.
So it will speak, right?
No, it's showing Braille
Oh,
up in the left-hand corner. Now the cool part is for sighted people who don't know Braille, I can
Then I'm
change
gonna
that
give
to
it
print.
Diane.
Right.
So there's blinking, and the neat thing is you can label your own graph. I labeled my schematics, and I'll show you another one that's labeled with real text, but this is Braille. So it's got a hidden label. So the tree has trunk, root, branches, and leaves, I think, are labeled.
I know it is a
You-
little funny.
when the,
Where's the
there's,
trunk?
It's down the middle.
she just took it around the other corner.
Down, and then there's little branches that go out the side. And see those blinking.
Now, the neat thing is, even though the Braille is really big, you can hook this to a Braille display and actually show real Braille out. So you touch it and it'll show Braille on the Braille display.
This is the ground. Okay.
But the Braille is still readable. It's very readable.
Yes, definitely. And
Yeah.
previously you showed, for example, 5 multiplied by 2 is equal to 10, right?
Right.
And it displayed on
Real
braille,
letters.
braille,
Yep.
right?
Feel that
So
blinking
is
dot?
it possible that we
Blinking.
can
Oh, it
have
means
like
it's
braille
this
in
one?
braille and then it will convert back
then
into
press?
And then
like
feel
in
to the
print
left
form?
on the
Yeah,
top.
in fact, I'll show you that in a sec when she's done playing.
It's in big braille. It's
Because right now it says tree,
Reverse.
branch, root. If I hit the right keys, it'll show it in text for sighted people.
Reverse.
Yeah.
Okay, when I touch this
The same is
appear?
like for mathematical things, okay?
Yeah, say what?
For mathematical equations also.
Because the APH is switching to UEB Braille and they haven't given me an embosser yet for this. So, but yeah, you can contact me and For your study, because you're doing a study, right? For your study, if you contact me, maybe we can get you a unit that you can use, you know, for stuff. So just let me know if you think you could use it.
Yeah, I will talk to my